July 26, 1884. The Clinton Evening News, Clinton, Iowa. Our New York letter from our regular correspondent. New York, July 24, 1884. The performances of Miss Lulu Hurst, the Georgia Magnetic Girl, have been the reigning sensation of the town for some time past. I have attended one or two of her entertainments and have seen about all the notables of New York, from John Kelly and Harry Hill to George William Curtis and Henry Ward Beecher, occupying the rows of seats in the auditorium. Whether Miss Hurst is, in fact, one of the electrical girls, I am unable to tell you, but it does not take long to convince one that her power is altogether extraordinary. Her feats have been described by dozens of writers, and I need only say that their descriptions are not exaggerated. It is perfectly true that Miss Hurst can lift a chair on which a man is seated, simply by placing her opened hands on the back of the chair. She can also prevent a stout stick, held by several vigorous men, from being bent to the ground. By touching the handle of an umbrella, she can make it plunge forward in a particularly vicious way. Opinions differ widely as to the explanation of the young woman's power. Dr. Spitzka seems to believe that Miss Hurst is surcharged with electricity. Dr. Hammond, looking at the subject in his practical and cautious manner, acknowledges that he is open to conviction, but that, in his judgment, the girl merely employs muscular power. Others speak of her psychic influence, also a vague expression, which may or may not mean something. I am inclined to believe her powers are muscular. Miss Hurst is by no means a giant, as exuberant writers have called her. She is somewhat above the average height of women, firmly built, with a strong body and a rather heavy, dull face, and with wonderfully developed hands and arms. Her arms are indeed exceptionally large and muscular, and I noticed that the muscles of the palm are very strong and flexible. Now, it is a fact that persons with flexible palms are often able to grasp objects tenaciously without moving their fingers. Those who observe Miss Hurst when she is performing one of her feats cannot fail to see a muscular contraction in the wrists and hands. Nothing could be more comical than her entertainments. Wallack's is crowded each night. When she makes her appearance upon the stage, she is welcomed with a shout of approval and sympathy. Then a score of ambitious athletes, young and old, go upon the stage and try to wrestle with her. They might as well wrestle with Goliath. She flings them about with the utmost ease, scatters them prone and crestfallen, and shakes the breath out of them. One of them, Wednesday night, fell amid the footlights and arose awkwardly with a scorched trouser seat. It is really worth the price of admission to watch a well-pleased and well-dressed stripling dance around as though his life depended upon frequent and acrobatic gyrations. When he tumbles headforemost into a pile of chairs, the situation becomes still more hilarious. No one has been found yet that can make a point against Miss Hurst. The most confident person does not care to be handled by her twice. November 28, 1898, the day, New London, Connecticut. A shrewd businesswoman. Miss Johnstone Bennett enjoys the proud distinction of being the only woman in America who has conducted a men's furnishing goods store and her own starring tour at one and the same time. But Miss Bennett is one of the keenest women in America, and when she found a short time ago that her lesser interest, the haberdashery in New York, was interfering with her more important one, the Stowering tour, she promptly abandoned the former, although it was said to be paying handsomely at the time. Miss Bennet's business acumen was never better illustrated than when she opened her store, except perhaps when she abandoned it. She had long been written up in the newspapers because of her mannish attire and exquisite taste in neckwear of the masculine type which she affected, and her incursion into the walks of trade was made with the intention of taking full advantage of the enormous amount of free advertising which her eccentricity in dress had brought. She knew when to start the haberdashery. That was bright. She knew when to close it. That was much brighter. February 12, 1924, The Evening News, San Jose, California. Bobbed heads just as brainy as any, schoolmen declare. Delilah docked old Samson's knob, subtracting all his power. But why should just a pretty bob cause some school boss, all sour, to can a teacher from her job, though talent is her dower? Or in more prosaic words, is a teacher less a teacher if she bobs her hair? A school superintendent at Santa Paula, Ventura County, believes she is, and fired a school teacher last week because she bobbed her hair. The teacher was one of the best in the school. Even the superintendent said so. But the bob, he said, ruined it all. The teacher could get no redress from the state superintendent, who said yesterday it was a matter for the local school boss to decide. But school authorities in San Jose don't agree with the Ventura County pedant. In fact, they scoffed at his action when asked their opinions today by the news. Why, a school teacher can spend more time preparing her lessons for her classes if she doesn't have to spend it combing and constructing a coiffure. 20% of the local teachers have bobbed their hair was one estimate, and no decline in teaching ability has been noted here. It's positively ridiculous, was the quick answer of Principal R.B. Leland of the San Jose High School. I can't see what on earth could be the relation between bobbed hair and teaching efficiency. In fact, I could even see that a teacher with bobbed hair would be a better teacher by that very fact. It would place her in a closer relationship with her pupils, would show the girls in her classes that she has a sympathy for their viewpoints, and would make her by that relationship a better educator. So long as bobbed hair isn't accompanied by a bobbed mind, said Dr. E.R. Snyder, president of the San Jose Teachers College, I don't see that it could have any deleterious effect. Well now, really, asserted Walter L. Backrot, superintendent of city schools, with mock seriousness. I don't believe the correlation between bobbed hair and teaching efficiency has ever been the subject of a statistical study. There are a great many bobbed hair teachers in all San Jose schools. Offhand, I would say 20% have bobs, and I have yet to receive report that there has been any marked decline in teaching ability here. My personal belief is that bobbing their hair is one of the most sensible things women have ever done, though, while it improves the looks of many in my estimation, it's rather hard on the looks of others. It seems to me a much more comfortable way of wearing the hair and saves women the chore of spending time they did previously in keeping their hair in shape. From my observation of the teachers the San Jose Teachers College is turning out, and the prevailing tendency among women in general, it seems to me that if the Ventura County schools bar bobbed hair teachers, it will only be a year or so when they won't be able to get teachers that measure up in this specification. There's absolutely no relation between bobbed hair and lack of teaching ability, said Frank Benson, a member of the San Jose School Board. It's a matter that should be left absolutely to the teacher's discretion. If a woman thinks she looks better with bobbed hair, it should be her privilege to bob it.